it's Joy, and today's video is a continuation of that Onision debate. I know all week I've been putting out videos. I hope you guys like them. If you guys haven't seen the others, this one might not make sense, so stop. Go watch the others first and then come back to this. I have one about Onision. I debated Onision. This is back in 2017, before the story super blew up. I debated Kai. Apparently I debated Kai's sister, who ambushed my stream. I had Onision call the police on me because I called Lainey out for her shady behavior when we spoke. And then the last thing is I did a debate, or I spoke with Sarah. If you guys remember, Sarah is one of their exes. Now, the first thing I want to try to make sure you guys are aware of is these girls were teenagers. Go easy on them, okay? It was Sarah and it was another girl, and the other young girl was saying mean things and calling me names. Sarah wasn't being super nice to me, but I guess this girl was just not saying a lot of nice stuff. So my people came to me and said, hey, here's the situation, go check it out. So, I respectfully confronted them. I am not immune to what you're going to see. There is a lot of them just blaming me and not having Onision really take much accountability or responsibility. The friend, in my opinion, she was very headstrong and opinionated. That's not bad, but you will watch, you'll probably see it too. It comes across very entitled and very rude. Guys, don't be kind in the comments. They were kids, they're teenagers. And let's be honest, none of us know how to act when we're in high school, right? When I was in high school, I tried to be nice to everybody else, but I also think I came across super arrogant. I could come across entitled. They didn't know about the world, right? And I kind of want to give you some insight in this. This was after all of those things had happened. So her friend and Sarah were really mad because I made so many videos about the situation because we did this debate. And then Onision called the police on me. And so I started outing all of his lies and behaviors. And so they weren't very happy with me. Remember, this is when she was a minor. I believe Sarah, this was just a few short months after she gotten kicked out, after they had some sort of, kind of legal authority over her. I forget what that's called. They weren't like, it wasn't like legally parents or anything, but they had like a power of attorney over her. They just weren't being very nice to her. I don't think Greg had ever been very nice to her, in my opinion, but I also think that's part of the game with him, which I can go into at some point, but go easy on them because they were kids. And this was before I think Sarah could really know how she felt and see through what was going on. And the other girl, I think, she actually had some decent points in what she said. But again, and I'm not trying to put them down. It's just when you're that young, there's just so much you still don't know. You know what I mean? So, don't be too hard. I just want to say this, don't be too hard on anybody. And looking back at these videos has been really good for me because of, and I think I've said this in a couple other videos, because of how mean people had been to me on the internet, especially about the content I made back then. And looking back, I can look and say, you know what? I wasn't perfect, obviously, but I made some really intelligent content and really, when I say intelligent, I did a lot of intelligent points. And I typically tried to be as nice as I could to everybody, even when they were being mean or stepping all over me or yelling me, like I did with Onision. Onision yelled and insulted and was horrible to me. And for most of that debate, I was still pretty respectful. But towards the end, I got silly because I'm like, there's no reasoning with you. So I'm just going to kind of be silly about the situation. So back then as well, Sarah really did not like me because I was such a big voice. And I will be honest, I think part of the reason she was removed from the home was because my voice was so big about the fact that they were attempting, in my opinion, to abuse and do horrible things to Billy because she made a mistake. Remember, chain her up by her neck for a week in the basement, make her get a tattoo that says, I'm a liar, right next to her private area, dye her skin orange, shave her head. And I said, there are minors in the home. And not just small children, but impressionable teenage minors. They gonna see this? This is not healthy. What is happening? This is a dangerous situation. I think she saw that and took all that and really thought that I was the reason that her world had ended, or, that I was at least a huge contributing factor to her having to leave this fantasy she built up about living with them and possibly being in a throuple. And I always felt bad about it in the sense of I figured she probably blamed me a lot and really didn't like, and she didn't like me. She was very upfront with it. As well, something that she'll mention was when I was done debating everybody, I had a big live stream. Several of the girls who've come forward came on that stream, as well as Sarah and Lainey's sister. And they were all confronting Sarah, and they were all hashing things out on my stream. So I'm still trying to find those live streams. I have everything saved somewhere. It's all about finding it, which is what I've been doing this week, finding things. So if you guys are interested, I might put it up. But I always felt really bad because I was like, Sarah's going to really blame me. And I really hope that now Sarah can look back and see that we weren't perfect, but we meant well, and we were trying to protect her and warn her. And that's really how I felt about her. And, I hope it'd be nice if she didn't, have disdain feelings for me. But if she does, that's her choice. I doubt she would even watch this video. She's probably tried to remove herself from this stuff, and good for her, good for all the girls. They're just trying to move on, live their lives, and I don't think any of us can blame them for that. But I hope she could, when she looks back, she realizes I wasn't just out to try to hurt her. I was really worried for her and concerned for her and her well-being and where she was and what she was being put through. So just be gentle on them, guys. Also, since then, Sarah has come out and spoke. You'll see she has the blue hair here. She's talked about she felt pressure to dye her hair blue because she knew that's what Lainey and Greg were into, and Billy's hair was blue. So she wanted to, be wanted by them. It's such a miscarriage of justice and morality, in my opinion, that he kept bringing all these girls and even brought a minor into the home with the intention of, once that person becomes legal, getting them to do X, Y, and Z with them, all while before then being super mean. So you couldn't say, oh, I liked you. A whole nother form of abuse, in my opinion. It's, and they put a minor, a young teenager in a position where she had to fix everybody's problems, be people pleaser, and play peacemaker. Even on this stream, she's continuing to try to play peacemaker and be a people pleaser to an extent. And I'm not knocking her. Like, anybody who comes from a bad environment, many times, that's what happens. You end up learning how to people please so you can keep the peace, right? And be kind of a conflict moderator. She should have never been in that position. She should have never been in the positions that she was put in. And I feel bad for her. I feel bad that she was ever in those positions. So Sarah, I like you. I'm really proud of you. You don't need, not that you need to hear that from me, not that, my pride means anything, but I just really hope that you are happy, or you continue to work on being happy and work on yourself and heal with what's happened. And I hope you find peace. And I just hope you know that as much as I might have looked like I was not on your side, I really was. And I was really concerned for you. So that's what I feel like there's other things, but those are the main things I wanted to say. So with that being said, let's go ahead, let's take a look, and you can see how this went for yourselves. All right, here we go.
Hey, Sarah, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, that respectful, Sarah, you've been fairly respectful to me. So that wasn't it you, was it your friend? Because, yeah, I'm happy to talk to you. You just called me and you don't know me, and that's all right. I mean, if that's what you feel.
Wait, me? No, me.
Your friend. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, I didn't do that.
Sorry, and I didn't catch your friend's name. I'm sorry. What was your name?
Ellie.
Ellie, nice to meet you. I'm Joy.
How do we... Just one of these words. She's maybe... All right. Well, so there we go.
All right. So, is it okay if I respond to Ellie what you were saying?
Yeah, Ellie, give me the friend.
Yeah, go wild.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, first of all, I am not trying to make fun of Lainey having anxiety. What I'm saying is, just because somebody has some type of disorder or illness, whether it's mental or physical, it does not give them a pass or the right to be rude. And what I was saying was, she had anxiety talking to me, and the minute that we stopped talking, she decided to talk me. And then she sent her sister in to come on my stream uninvited to just take over and be rude. So those are things that, from my perspective, I don't blame stuff on my anxiety or my PTSD. I don't do that. And I don't think anybody else can either. You can have an illness, a mental illness, some type of mental disorder, and still not be rude to somebody. And I felt that what she did was misleading, it was lying, and it was rude. That's what I felt, because she said one thing to me. We had this whole conversation, turns around and has a completely different idea and agenda and perception and objective after we were done talking. And there was that was rude to me from my perspective.
then my response to you is, first things first, I'd like to say what everyone is saying in the comments, which is that Lainey goes by they, them pronouns. The second thing I'd like to say is that everyone's disorder, regardless of, whether or not it's anxiety or depression, is different for that person. So it doesn't, what your experience with having PTSD might be is going to be very different from Lainey's perspective having anxiety. So when you say that having a disorder doesn't justify your actions, that would be true, except when you look at cases like for people who have severe depression, where if you have severe depression, sometimes it's not as easy for people who have that to just get up, meditate, and feel better. Their actions are going to be laying down all day and not being able to move. So,
I'd like to say this respectfully. It was never just, I can get up and meditate. I had PTSD so bad I couldn't leave my house after I'd had gone through a horrific series of situations. It took me years. So, you don't know me, so I'm just respectfully kind of filling you in on that. Here's what I'm wanting to say. It does not matter. Like, okay, let's break it down in a court of law. In a court of law, you can have a mental illness, and unless you are proven by the court to be literally insane, like having insanity, you still have to stand by your actions. So there's no, in my perspective, for me and for everybody else, there is no amount of mental illness or mental disorder, unless you are declared mentally insane, that ends up justifying somebody being rude or being an asshole. And I'm not trying to call her an asshole. That's just the word that I'm trying to use. I'm not trying to say that to you guys or anybody else to be disrespectful, but you still have to have some sort of politeness and common courtesy and morality about you. Otherwise, that says more about you as a person than your disorder. I have many friends. Many of my friends suffer from bipolar disorder, anxiety, depression, all of those things. I've been through those things severely. I've been suicidal. Yet I still make sure, as other people should, to not take that out on somebody else in the wrong way.
Okay. Personal response to that is that I'd like to state first off that I have a lot of lawyers in my family, so I know exactly what you're talking about when you say insanity in the court of law. The only problem with that is that a lot of people in the justice system and in the social system in general won't actually determine someone as insane, unless they do something completely wild.
Like kill somebody.
Yeah, but the thing is that you can have actions that are caused by a disorder that aren't actually meaning that you're clinically insane. You can still have a mental disorder that controls the way you act and not be clinically insane by a court of law. So if you have a thing, for example, as anxiety, one of my best friends has anxiety, and if she is brought up to the front of the class to present something, her throat gets clogged up and she just immediately starts crying. There's nothing she can do about it. She can't justify her actions in that case because they're completely caused by her mental disorder.
So I want to interject.
Hey, someone is saying that Ellie's argument is not valid because Ellie is a child. Ellie is 16, full disclosure. Why does that matter?
I'd also like to say that my argument is valid because I'm educated. Moving on. Next.
I agree with you, girls. So guys, I know I've talked a lot about age, and even though I have some valid points, we can't just put people's complete perspective down because of age. Like that, I'm siding with you girls right now. I agree with that. So thank you both for pointing that out.
I'm not a girl.
Sorry?
I'm not a girl.
Oh, I apologize. How, I'll do my best. How would you want me to refer or...
I can buy the dumb pronouns.
This is maybe because I'm stupid. I literally don't know how to form it in my brain. And if that can make me stupid, and that's fine. So how can
maybe just say Ellie if you can't use pronouns, you could just say like their name, like Ellie, like instead.
And like I said, Delaney, I might mess up. Just forgive me in advance and let me know, and I'll correct it. Or I might say it and then mid-sentence correct it just because of my own fibromyalgia stuff. So it's not meant to be disrespectful. Okay, so just trying to tell my brain. Okay, so I would understand that, but and I agree. I'm not trying to compare. I'm not saying what Lainey did is like insanity in a court of law. So like I hope I'm not coming across like I'm trying to like literally compare the two. But what I am saying is that everybody still has to take responsibility for their own actions. If she is in a state, because it would be like she literally. Because from the perspective of what happened, She told me something completely different. Sorry?
They, them pronouns.
I don't know how to, like I said, I don't know how to, should I
Lainey, just say Lainey.
Because Lainey, during the live stream, from my understanding, she said it was okay. That's why I'm trying to do that. So just so you're aware.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said something about not policing it. Ellie, on the other hand, is very...
I police it, but that's because I'm non-binary myself. So, moving on. The reason, by the way, a lot of people are saying that I'm attacking pronouns. The reason I'm doing that is because if you're going to call out someone in general, you should respect their. For example, just as an example, I think Caitlyn Jenner is. I think she's. But I'm not going to go to the extent of saying Bruce because that would be stupid and make me look invalid. Next.
Would you like me to finish what I was saying? Is that okay?
Yeah, just finish.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to say is that I don't know that there's any mental disorder, including anxiety, that's going to make you say one thing for, 45 minutes, turn around and say the exact opposite and be rude. Like, where in anxiety does that make you do that? Because that's exactly what happened.
Well, I don't know I never saw Lainey be like rude or like raise their voice after they went on to their now.
So from what she presented to me,
I wasn't watching because I was on live stream with you.
Right. No, no worries. And I know you were with us and no worries. So the conversation she had with me, like I said, if you want to see it, there are videos of it. I know like the Blarg, who they've been really nice. They've been promoting it. They have it on theirs of everything that Lainey had said when you were there. She turned around on live stream after we had this nice peaceful conversation, and she just started saying a lot of other things, a lot of things that were very rude to me, and some of them that were lies. And that's the stuff that I'm upset about. I don't know a mental disorder aside from, was it pathological lying, where you just are going to say one thing and give a complete one story at one point, literally the moment I leave, turn around and say something else and give a complete...
It's also just being two-faced, but the point of the matter is that that's not what they did.
She did,
and
though.
From my perspective.
Sure, and I'm just saying from, if you watch my video, We
watched your entire video.
So if you watch our interaction, and then what she said, she turned around and did a lot of negative talking from my perspective. And when I say talking, that's just, crap talking. I don't know, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in the way I'm saying that, but that was my perspective on it. And if she really had those opinions, I mean, she could have said that at any time. And I also want to say this, and I've said this in my videos a lot, and I came on here for earlier, and this is what I was hearing. You can disagree with somebody and you can be critical of them and still see the good in them. And that's how I feel about a lot of people, including Greg. And Greg, to me, in my opinion. And he does a lot of awful things at times, but there's good parts to him. There's good and bad in everybody. And I feel like just because Sarah, I complimented you and told you were beautiful and said your hair is beautiful, which I still believe. And I've said that Lainey is a beautiful girl, doesn't mean that I can't still be critical of somebody's actions. That's not me being fake. That's me being genuine and being honest. That's also, Lainey said it was a put down, or it was like, what was it? It was condescending. If you guys feel I was like Sarah, if you at any point feel I was condescending, I will immediately, in fact, I'll do it right now. I apologize if in any way I came across to you like that.
It was when my age was being brought up as a form of defense for my argument that I felt talked down to.
Sure, and then I apologize. Let me put it like this, and maybe this will help, because I was, when I was young, people they would put me down for being young, and I hated that. So that was never my intention. I apologize. I think a lot of times, and this happens to a lot of teenagers, myself included, when I was this age, and maybe you guys are smarter than me at this, a lot of us feel like we have everything figured out, and then you hit like your late teens and early 20s, you get out in the world, and life smacks you around, and you go, oh, this is really hard, and it's not what I thought it is, and you go through this big life learning process. So like, for instance, I'm 33, somebody who's in their 40s with a well-established family has a lot more wisdom and understanding about different aspects in life than I do. So what I was trying to convey was that there's going to be a lot of stuff that at 16 you're not going to be aware of, simply like in some of your arguments, and we were trying to help you see some points where you might not be aware of it because you haven't had the same life experiences. Just like I said, somebody in their 40s with a family is going to have a totally different wisdom to impart on me. So that's how I was trying to come across. If I didn't, and I was rude,
that might be considered condescending from the other point of view.
Sorry?
Can you see how that might be considered condescending from a different point of view?
I could see
Like
how...
if you were trying to speak in an argument and someone who was older than you said, no, let me talk, I'm older, wouldn't you feel a little bit hurt by that? Because I feel there's a lack of empathy here.
Well, I would say this. I think, and Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, I think for most of the conversation, so for most of that conversation, except for one point, and you called me out on it, Sarah, and it wasn't even meant for you. I was upset because somebody came and crashed, and you said, hey, it's the energy's coming at you, and that wasn't my intention. I thought I was more than kind, even to Lainey, like more than kind and more than compassionate and as respectful as I could be, even though, Sarah, you came at me saying something like, my name out of your mouth. And I felt like I did that. However, if for any reason I came across that way about the age thing, I apologize. What I would like to hope is that you guys, Ellie, I know you weren't there, but that Sarah, you could also see that it's good. And I'm not saying you didn't do this, but just to keep this in mind, it's always good to stay open in your arguments. If you know that you might not have the same understanding and wisdom as somebody else, just to keep an open mind. That's all I want to say. Because that's something I look back on as I was young and I'm like, oh my God, I was so stupid. I thought I knew everything. And Sarah, you've never come across that way. You don't come across that way with me. This is just something I'm putting out there.
Well, I want to say something really quick. There's a person in the chat that has been, the Caitlin, from the live stream. Caitlin, I'd like you to stop being rude in the chat. I've blocked you twice because of it. You can watch, but please, if you could stop. If you had something to say to me like that, you could say it to my face when we were in the live stream. Just wanted to address that really quick.
Anyway, the whole thing that you were saying about how we should be open to people who have different life experiences than us. I fully agree with that. I fully agree with getting wisdom from people who have different experiences than you, but I believe that works both ways. I'm not trying to. So I feel like when someone tells me that I need to acknowledge them more, I feel like it's condescending because I'm already acknowledging people. So I feel like that might come across as condescending when you say that to people, and if someone else says it to people. Like, sure. Listen to what I have to say because I have more experience than you. It just sounds kind of,
I completely understand that, but like I said, at the same time, I think we have to be humble and we have to be open if somebody does have more experience to be able to keep a very open mind and really be able to take that in and not get defensive. However, I'm not saying anybody's defensive. That's not what I'm not trying to accuse anybody of that. But I am saying that I agree with what you're saying, and I will apologize if in any way, shape, or form I came across condescending. Not my intention.
Sorry, I was just looking at Greg's Twitter right now. But thank you for the apology.
Yeah, and and if you remember, Sarah, at the end of the stream, I tried to make sure if and I hope you can. I was going to say I hope you can agree with this or no. I mean, if you have a disagreement, that's fine. You had asked for the girls to come on. I said, hey, you asked for other people, and I said, hey, there's this group. Are you sure? Are you sure? And I triple checked, and I tried, even though you guys were going to talk about the stream, I tried very much every so often to make sure everything was okay. And even before you left, when you started to say you have to leave and you're uncomfortable, if I remember correctly, I apologized and we all apologized if anything was rude or sounded attacking, because Sarah, I will say this for forever. I have nothing against you. I support you. I still, from my perspective, think that what's happened to you sucks and it's not your fault and you were put in a position and a situation. And I just want you to know that regardless of everything else, I still think you're pretty. I can disagree with things. I can still think you're pretty. I can still think you're smart, and I can still support you, even if you disagree or dislike me. Not saying you do, but even in that case.
Caitlin, I'm not going to guest you. Get out of the chat. I will block you a third time. Also, just to make your point, when we were in the live stream, there's like a lot of feedback coming out.
Oh, I always forget to put on headphones. I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting to do this. Give me a second. Oh, I got him. Okay.
It's fine. I'll wait.
Okay, sorry. See if that's better now.
Okay, yeah. When the whole, like, people coming in, I didn't know that it was going to be, well, first of all, I was in there, I was talking to you and Jeff, and then Jeff got off, and you were like, oh, there are some other people who want to, like, guest, and I was like, oh, okay, well, like, could I, like, I was, like, wanting to stay on, so I was like, oh, well, they can guest while I guest, too, so we can, like, all talk. I didn't know it was going to be 6 other people. I didn't know exactly who the girls were going to be. I definitely did not know that fucking Lane was going to show up, even though I did say, I was like, oh, well, why isn't Lane here, like, herself? But I didn't really think that like, Lane was going to actually show up. I didn't outwardly, like, say, oh, bring all these people in, and that's kind of how you're making it seem, if that makes sense. You're making it seem like I asked, and I didn't, and I was fine with it until Aaron got very rude at one point. I don't know if you remember that. Not the moderator, but the other.
Right. No, I want you to also be aware she actually wrote me and apologized for how heated she got. And she basically said she had, just so you're aware, she meant no disrespect towards you. She's really upset at the situation, and she's upset at the manipulation that she sees goes on with Greg to everybody. And then what Lainey can do as a result of Greg. So yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And I apologize if you felt attacked at all. I think part of it, Sarah, I think there was some miscommunication, because what I remember, and I can try to pull up and find it, and not because like I'm trying to argue with you, but just more so for clarity, is that you had asked if other people could come on. And so I apologize if there was any breakdown from me and you and miscommunication. I guess, and I know you don't know me very well, but I wish I would have known, or you would have wrote me privately and been like, hey, I'm uncomfortable. You know, if you didn't want to say anything to the group, because I would have immediately fixed that. Like, my intention was to just have a chat with me and you, if that's what you had wanted, since you seemed to be upset with me, because the thing I wanted to avoid was having you feel attacked by anybody. That's why, like, because the people from my chat said they wanted to come on, and I said, nope, you need to wait. And it was nice. They weren't saying, I just said, no, wait until Sarah has her turn, and then I'll see if I have people.
It's like feeding backward. I just want to say something about the chat really quick. People are saying that I was being rude, and that's why Aaron started being rude. I was never rude in the live stream. You can attest to that, Joy, because I was never rude.
I'm going to agree with that. I don't think Sarah, I think you were really nice. I think you were really respectful. I will say there's one thing I did find very rude. And it wasn't in what you said or what you came across, but that without my knowledge, you sent the Hangout link to Lainey's sister without telling any of us. It would have been one thing if you would have asked, or if I, like if you would have approached me about it, even privately, if you would have written, said, hey, please don't say this in the chat. Could you, I'd like to, get her on.
I do know what you're talking about. I didn't, even when I first clicked the link, was not until I had already given the link, and I didn't know that would immediately connect me into the chat. I thought it was just a link to the live stream, and then you would like guest me or something like you now.
Okay, so had you never done Google Live before that?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that makes a lot of sense to me, because I'm new to it. Like, the first time I did it, I gave it out to everybody, and all of a sudden these random people were on, and I went, what happened? So, okay. And see, like, that's what sucks, is I feel like so much can literally be just misinformation, misunderstanding, miscommunication. And when two people actually sit down and talk and they're open, it can easily be resolved. So no, then that's fine. Because I didn't know, and I thought, hold on. I was like, wait a second, I invited you on, and now
Rat Monster.
Rat Monster. Sorry, got some extras.
I'm sorry, my bias just popped up.
My fault.
There's someone. I'm sorry. Did I don't know if you remember, but did Caitlin even really say anything in the live stream?
I think a few times. I'll be honest, when it came to, I was trying to really focus more on how the flow of everything, and if you were comfortable. And at that point, I was also exhausted. So I was there, but I was just kind of letting everybody talk. I think she spoke up a few times. Yeah, I think she did. But I know that there was a lot of going back and forth between you and Aaron for a while. And so I was just kind of focused on that. But I don't, there was several people in there that I can't remember everybody and everything specifically.
Okay, well, next point I wanted to bring up was, in your video, you said at the, like kind of like the very beginning, you said, something to the extent of, like, what was it? Like, oh, like, bring it, or something like that.
Was it Delaney? Yeah, no, I said, I think that the direct quote is, "I'm coming for you." So, do you have any? Yeah. Any questions about that?
I don't know. Well, like, why would you that? Because that sounds like sort of a threat, and I know you probably didn't mean it as a physical threat, but that sounds threatening.
No. Okay, here's the problem with that. Is that you can't... The reason I was initially very angry about this entire situation is because the video that you made, in my opinion, where you started it off by saying that kind of thing, number one, was really attacking, regardless of any standpoint. Like, I'm not even that involved, but I listened to that and I was like, wow, okay. And
it was meant, and I will agree with you, it was meant to be attacking. That was absolutely meant to be attacking.
Yeah, so can you see how that might be problematic, and also, like, you're trying to play this off as, like, I was trying to, and, like, the problem that I had with the video is I feel like there was a lot of flip-flopping in which you would say, oh, I feel like, Lane, they started all these problems, except you use she pronouns. Lainey caused all these problems, and, like, Lainey did this, Lainey did that, I didn't. And then, like, you would, like, put in a clip of her or them talking, and then you'd be like, like, but then you'd turn right around, and you'd say, but you're beautiful and you're smart, which is, it's just so weird. Like, it was so weird to watch. Like, if you're mad at them, just say you're mad. Like, I mean, from my standpoint, I was just like, how do you actually feel? Because you could tell you're really pissed, but, like,
I feel both ways. Because that's the thing. I think that people are used to somebody being 100% I hate you or attacking or completely kissing your, and I'm a human being with many emotions, and I will express them all.
But it doesn't feel like you're being genuine when you say things like, but you're really pretty. And then if you were to, like, dig deep down, that's pretty, like, it doesn't.
See, I think a lot of women, what a lot of women do is, or even a lot of people in general, when they don't like somebody, they end up wanting to pick apart everything about them, even stuff that doesn't matter. I like to keep things into perspective. I can still see the good in somebody and see good things about them and point that out and still be highly upset at their actions. I don't have to hate everybody just to be, or I don't have to hate everything about a specific person because I'm upset with them about a situation. That is how I choose to operate. I don't need one extreme or the other. And I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable, but that's just who I am. And
the reason it makes me uncomfortable is because you started the video off by saying, I'm coming for you, and then continued with, but you're pretty and nice though. Like, just, it's kind of wrong. It just didn't feel right. So.
No, if it doesn't feel right to you, that's fine, but that doesn't make it wrong. I would say this, and I'm going to say this as humbly as I can, and in no disrespect or condescension. It might be strange because, and Sarah, you and I had talked about this. Where you are at right now as a teenager, and this is not a put down, is that your brain reacts a lot on emotion. So it would make sense why that might be strange, because, again, until you're 25, those centers of cause and reaction and really being able to weigh things aren't formed. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It's just literally physiology. But as you get older, you gain greater perspective on things. Like I said, people who are 40 and 50 have way more knowledge than me. And that's just part of it. So like I said, for me, I can see many different sides and perspectives of it. And I can agree with several things at once. And that doesn't make me fake or make me wrong. In fact, I wish more people could do that. I think we could get to a peaceful place with people more quickly if more people could be able to have that attitude, rather than, you've upset me, or I don't like what you did, therefore I hate everything about you. That's just not who I'm going to be. And that's not who a lot of people are.
Yeah, but you're using our ages and the way, according to you, the way that our minds works as a way to invalidate what we say, and I'm not okay with that.
It's not an invalidation. It's trying to.
But it sounds like it. Like it.
Then I apologize. It's not trying to invalidate. It's trying to expand your perspective. That's it.
Well, I completely understand what you're saying. I just don't agree with you.
And that's okay. We don't have to agree. That's all right. We can just share information, and, you know, maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll see points you've said and I'll agree with you, and maybe it's the same, you know, you'll see points I've said. So we don't have to agree. But like I said, because I heard that there was some talking, and, you know, I heard you call me. I thought, all right, if you guys would like to talk it out, I'm more than happy to.
Because you can't make a video like that and not expect to be called. Like as you so blatantly said, if Lainey marries someone, then they have to tolerate all of the actions of that person and have to also agree with them. And you when
did I say that?
Well, you made a point to say that when Lainey stays quiet about something that Greg does, then they're like leading it on or something. I don't remember the exact.
Oh, no, I know what enabling. I know what you're referring to. There's now that's a bit different. It would be different if Greg wasn't a public figure dragging his wife and her personal stuff out into public. So this is where, again, it's not what Greg does is not Lainey's fault, but the problem is because he drags Lainey's personal life out there, it then becomes part of her responsibility because of his actions. And even though that might be unfair, that's just part of being married. That is just part of how that's even part of being married if you're not on camera and you're not out there. But when you're out there, that's even worse. And it would be different if Greg kept his life and Lainey's personal life completely separate, but he merged the two and threw it all out there in a really disgusting way where it was looking like she was enabling his behavior. And even in the video she did, and I told her, it looked like she didn't really, even though she said she was against it, it didn't seem like a very strong stance. It seemed like it was something that was just kind of glossed over and brushed aside from my point of view and the point of view of many people.
But the problem is that just because another thing you said was that basically, if Lainey didn't want this, then they shouldn't have signed up by marrying Greg. That's one of the things you said.
I said two things. There were two things. I said that, and I said, and furthermore, once she figured out what she was getting into, then she has to expect that this is how things are going to be and act accordingly. Or she has to leave the situation.
That's where that's to me. You can't, just because you're famous doesn't mean you have to tolerate bad behavior. If an artist posts their work on a social media site and someone takes it and posts it onto something else, they don't have to accept that. So when you say that Lainey signed up for this by marrying Greg, you're basically saying that because they chose to marry this person, then everything that comes after that, they have to completely deal with. And that's just not true. Like, there are people who are famous, like CoolGuyKai, for example,
that's every marriage.
Have people going to his house, right? Just because he's famous doesn't mean he has to deal with the bad behavior of other people. Just
what
because
bad behavior? That I don't.
See,
sorry, I don't understand.
This comment too. She knew what she was getting into. First of all, they knew what they were getting into. Second of all, if you marry someone, you are not responsible for their actions. They do what they want, and they have to make up for their problems on their own. The main problem I have with this, if it was reversed, I don't feel like this would even be a conversation. Like, I just don't feel like if Lainey were the one doing a lot of bad things, people would be saying, oh, Greg needs to watch his significant other. Greg needs to monitor all of their choices. Like, that would never happen, which is another really big problem I have with this, because you're basically saying Lainey has to be responsible for all of Greg's choices, which isn't true.
She has to be responsible when it comes to something like the abuse of teenagers or children or anybody, and her husband is putting that out there and attaching her and her personal life and her personal business into it, then it is her responsibility to say something. Otherwise, the public perception of people is going to be that she stands by it and is enabling it. That's what I am saying. And when you enter into a marriage, that is in marriage in general, that's always a big point of contention, because you are looked at as a single unit. That might not be fair, but that typically is how marriages go. And with her, it's even more exaggerated because it's in the public forum. Again, I'm not sitting here saying whether that's right or wrong or fair. I even told Lainey, you're in an unfair position. But the difference is, she is not 16 or 17 anymore. She knows what she's got herself into now. She has an understanding of it, and yet she still continues to play the victim to the situation, even though she's aware of it. And that's
But by your definition, Lainey's brain won't be fully developed until they're 25. They're
Correct.
22, so
Correct.
you can't say, oh, well, they, even though they do, and we have a nice understanding of what's going on too, obviously because I was there and I
Right.
talked to Ellie about stuff.
Sure.
Also, I would like to ask who was abused, because as far as I know, no abuse happened.
Right. So, and I've clarified this in video. So forgive me if I'm not explaining it the right way. I'm talking about what I call attempted abuse. So what they were attempting to do to Billy. Yes, what they were attempting to do.
But I don't see how it was abuse. Like, Greg was so nice to Billy, like, all the time.
I'm sure he was, but then he attempted to try to chain her up by her neck for a week, shave her head, dye her bald head green, dye it a weird orange, put a tattoo. Remember, a tattoo is permanent and for life that says, I'm a liar, above her. And then a sign around the neck when there are children and minors in the home. And when she didn't want to do it, and people keep saying she consented, she several times said in the beginning, this is not something that I want to do. She obviously showed that she wasn't comfortable, and he kept pushing to change the terms of that. That is abuse. Just because you mess up or something happens in a relationship doesn't mean you do abuse. If a relationship is that bad that you think you have to enact abuse on somebody, that's the point where you walk away. That is abuse.
Okay. The thing with that is that Billy had, and I saw the conversations, Billy had a choice. Like, Billy had a lot of choices. Billy could have made an apology video. Or better yet, better yet,
if you mess up, do you need to go and make an internet, okay, let's say you are a private person, right? You have a relationship. When you mess up, let's say you've lied 3 times for whatever reason, are you then supposed to turn around because your partner wants you to go make a video on YouTube every time that person is offended because you've messed up on something else? Or should you go out in the street with a megaphone and scream all of your issues? No, it's a private matter. And that was our issue about the whole thing. It should have stayed.
But the thing is that Lainey didn't even want any of that.
I agree.
Billy never even apologized. Like, honestly, I feel like if Billy would have just apologized when it all, like, happened, like, you know, when it all first happened, I feel like none of this would have happened. But
he's still capable of wanting to enact
I don't want to start dragging Billy,
okay.
But I don't feel like Billy knows how to apologize.
And here's the thing, though. Let's entertain your idea. Even if that's true, even if everything you're saying is true, doesn't make what he tried to do right. It still makes what he did as attempted abuse. It's still attempted abuse. And we can't say, oh, it's because she did this that he tried to abuse her. No, that was all him. He's the oldest person of the situation. He is aware. He knows what's going on. It's attempted abuse regardless. It's almost like if you have somebody who's an abused person and they do that thing, well, if I just wouldn't have upset them, they wouldn't have hit me. And I'm not saying he's trying to hit anybody. I'm just giving that example of no, it's never okay.
Billy. People in the chat are saying that Billy has nothing to apologize for. I just want to call out that bull right now, because that is bull. Greg has stuff that he should have apologized for, and he did. And Billy sure as did too, because I was there, and, like, I just don't understand how, like, obviously, yes, Billy had things done to them, her, that were bad. Obviously, the leaking of private information, all that. But you guys seem to forget that she also did a bunch of horrible
And you know what? I can agree with some of that. And I know even Billy agrees with that. I'm not trying to excuse any of her actions or what she may have done. My point is to always say that no matter what somebody has done, it doesn't make abuse okay. You don't go punish your partner, period. Because then, so if she messes up, that turns whoever the person that is hurt, that turns them into the abuser. And that's just not okay. It's not. Messing up and maybe lying or doing whatever Billy did does not equal this person should be abused.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Can I just ask one question? What's the end game here? Like, what's the point of arguing about all this? Because as far as I'm concerned, you made a video basically stating why you're pissed off. I found it controversial. Sarah found it controversial. A lot of other people found it controversial. You basically called someone out. What were you trying to accomplish by calling Lainey out? That's all I want to know.
So my end game is really simple.
Yeah, you're right. Onision is controversial. Completely agreed.
Sure.
Sorry, next.
No, that's okay. That's okay. When you say next, did you want to change topic, or do you want me to answer?
No, there was a comment basically saying that there was like Onision is controversial, and I completely agree with that. So I don't care. I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh no, okay. Sorry. When you said next, I just don't know how. I'm just trying to figure out how you communicate, because I thought that meant change the subject. That's why I was like, I didn't know if you wanted me to answer. Okay, no worries. Okay, yeah. So. In regard to that, what's my end game? My end game is this. My end game is Onision for years has been trying to bully, humiliate, and threaten people online, like he's doing to me right now. He is trying to threaten me in regard to the police when I've literally done nothing wrong. He tries to bully everybody else, but shut people up from speaking about him, while he also attempts to do abuse to other people. Because the Billy situation is not nearly the first person he's tried to do things to. Not at all. And so my goal, my end game, is to let people know that what he's doing, and then what Lainey does by default of being with him and just doing, and taking on his mindset, that this isn't okay and this isn't healthy behavior. And it's also to let people know not to be bullied into being silenced. It's just not okay, in my opinion. That's my end game.
I'd like to say something. Someone in the chat said something about Lainey not being responsible for what Greg says and Billy not being responsible for what Drew says. The difference in that is that you all know what Drew tweeted, right?
No one is responsible for anything that any other person does.
About the Drew tweeted at Greg, "I hope your kids are crying."
That's awful. That's awful. I don't agree with that.
Let me just say...
Yeah, but Billy's not responsible for that.
No. But the thing is that, let me just say that had Lainey or Greg said that, like, let's say Greg were to say that to someone...
Yikes. It'd be a whole mistake.
There would be a huge... Like breaking up huge. Like, they are...
Yeah. And I think part of that is...
What I was going to say is, I think we went off on a tangent, because what I had asked was the whole video that you made about Lainey... was particularly about Lainey, not so much Greg. So what my end game is, what's your end game with Lainey? Like, were you just...
Well, it's what happens with Lainey is, Lainey, it was a lot of frustration about the whole thing, but I was frustrated at Lainey because that was a rude behavior. And what Lainey likes to do is, Lainey likes to say she doesn't want drama, say she doesn't want things, doesn't want all of this, but to have a peaceful conversation, turn around, and then say completely different things and talk me is obviously somebody who's being a hypocrite. That's somebody that is wanting drama. Like that is
drama?
Pardon?
Do you want drama? Do you want drama too?
This is not about drama. That, to me, this is about calling out hypocrisy and not being bullied by people.
Yeah, but like you
that
can't...
was a bully move. It was a rude bully move to have this conversation with me, where we're nice, we're respectful. I thought anything we had with each other, we squashed. Now, granted, I'm not sitting here saying we're going to be friends or that everything is great, but we're in a civil, peaceful place. Turns around and then does a bunch of talking. I'm just showing what this person did, and from my perspective, how that's not okay, and how these two tend to operate. And this is a tactic Lainey has used before.
Yeah, but the video you made was meant to be informative, so it seems more that you're just trying to...
Okay, the difference with that is that...
Well, you were trying to... You're saying that you were trying to inform the public on basically the situation and stuff. So what I'm saying is...
And vent my frustration, yes. And vent my frustration.
So that... I mean, I feel like... Isn't it kind of just like the pot calling the kettle black? Because that's kind of...
No, because I wasn't rude to her. She drew first blood. I defended myself. I defended myself from her verbal talking me after we had a peaceful conversation and basically just lying to me a lot of that conversation.
Okay. Let me just say this. Wait, what was I going to say? Okay. With the whole Lainey talking you thing, It's pretty normal for someone to, when they're talking to someone face to face, to not be as extreme as when they're talking to their friends or talking by themselves. Like,
Agreed.
Obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and like call you or start cursing at you while we're having a debate because I want to be taken seriously.
Now you didn't, but Ellie did before. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, but I didn't. I myself did. Ellie did. I didn't.
Problem,
Yes. I agree.
But as far as I know, Lainey didn't call you after, know.
No, she didn't. That's correct.
But it's just, it's harder to really attack people when you're face to face with them, at least for me, because you don't want to start more. You want to be respectful. I don't feel like Lainey was being fake because Lainey wasn't being like, oh yeah, it was nice to meet you. Like I'm, like buddy.
No, but like I said, she literally even said, well, there was a lot of things I didn't say because I was scared, this, that, and the other. It would be totally one thing if she turned around and talked to people she knew and said what she needed to say because she felt like she couldn't get out for whatever reason. She chose immediately after I left to use a public forum to talk crap about me. She chose that. And in choosing that, to do that rude behavior to me, I then turned around and defended myself, which I have every right to do, which to me also, I'm showing the manipulation that happens with Lainey and Greg in the public. From my perspective, that was a very rude, manipulative, snake-like thing to do. If it were private, I wouldn't have had an issue. That's her private life. Those are her friends. That's her business. But she decided to make that public, and that's the issue that I had with it.
But nothing is going to stop by you making that video. Like, you just added more gasoline to the fire. So, like, that's what my main question is. Like, what's your end game with that? 'Cause it's not going to end.
She added more gasoline to the fire by letting people know that there's no peace that will be made, we'll never be in a good place. Then why would she want to come talk to me if no peace is going to be made, but she's not going to actually say what she feels and turns around and talks to me? Her turning around and talking me was what added fuel to the fire. Onision just wants to shut me down because when you search his name, my videos come up. And because I've been a loud voice to help get him flagged on YouTube, I am affecting his pocketbook. That's why he is upset with me. And I'm going to continue to do so when he continues to try to hurt people. That what added fuel to the fire, Ellie, and I don't know how much you had seen about this, I had barely talked about Greg. Lainey, I hadn't talked about in months. I was over it.
But by making a 30-minute long video,
I'd made a couple recent videos with it. Like I did one week, one another. 7 days later, here he comes wanting to debate out of nowhere. That's literally a promotion and financial move for him. He created this whole situation just so he could put money in his pocket and create drama and views, but it backfired on him because it made his public image look horrible. Granted, they made $250 out of it, but regardless, he created this whole situation. There was no reason for him to want to come talk to me. I hadn't been talking about him much at all. So what was the point?
But Joy, you've made 84 videos about him in 6 months.
He's made hundreds of hate videos about other people. I have a list.
He doesn't just target one person though.
I don't either. I've done several. I'd stopped talking about him. I had completely stopped for months. I had barely said a word about him. So as much as he doesn't want me talking about him, well, I stopped. Why would you then come back on my radar? I've made videos on several people and several different subjects. Several. So why would he reignite something that from my perspective was dead?
Okay, then why did you
make a video?
After months of not making videos about him, what made you make another video about him then? What made you rekindle this fire?
Sure. If you go back and watch some of my videos, like where I released the DMs, I told him I did not want to debate. I told him, he said in one of his videos, either she needs to be shut down, sued, or debate me. And then even in what he wrote it in a very bullying and threatening way, which was leading to, I could do all of these things and you should debate me so I don't do these things. If you go look at the DMs, I said, no, I want you to sue me instead. I don't want to talk to you. He kept pushing and bullying and insulting me to where I finally said, okay, Let's have a conversation. He wanted this. You can go literally, if you want the proof, you can go look at it. He wanted this. So I chose to do it because he wouldn't stop harassing me about it. And I just said, all right, what do I have to lose? Let's try to do this. But he better stand up and sue me. He better prove I did something wrong. Because there's nothing wrong with me making lots of videos on somebody. But I had stopped. And that's where I'm frustrated. So that's where I feel like this argument, if you made so many videos, number one, doesn't matter because I'm within my legal right to do so. But number two, I had stopped making videos. This was a financial move for him.
Okay. What I'm trying to say though in general is that I personally don't side with you or Greg. I feel like personal opinion here is that if either one of you really wanted this to stop, both of you would stop attacking each other. And personal opinion again is that if you really want people to take you seriously when you say you don't want drama anymore, you need to stop making videos. He needs to stop making videos. Stop tweeting at each other. Because if your end game is, because the general end game, whether or not you actually said it, the end game should be to stop fighting with each other, because fighting gets people nowhere. So if you both just back off, this will be a lot easier. So if you didn't make the video that you made, things probably would have ended faster. If he would stop tweeting at you, things would end faster. The fact of the matter is, if one person's not fighting, the fight isn't going to happen. It takes two. So when you make a video like that, you're bound, because Sarah and I are getting attacked in the comments, and you're getting attacked in the comments, and Greg is getting attacked in the comments. The fact is, if we all just relax and go back to our own corners and stop trying to throw spitballs at each other, you're not going to have a fight. So you shouldn't be making videos, and Greg should be making videos.
I will say
but
this.
When you made the video,
let me answer real quick. I agree with your logic. Where I disagree with, this is not who Onision is, unfortunately. I have studied him. I know you guys are about 16, 17. I've been studying him since you guys were about 6 years old. And that's not a put down. I'm just trying to explain that as you guys know, he's been on this platform for a long time. What Greg does is when you back down, he bullies harder and thinks he can just do whatever he wants and also shut you up in the process. What I'm doing is what I haven't seen a whole lot of other people do as strongly as I have. I've taken a stand and said, no, you will not bully me. You will not intimidate. You will not threaten me or anybody else anymore. You can make all the threats and the bull crap you want. It's not going to work in regard to me. He can't bully and be rude to everyone else whenever he wants and then turn around and pitch a fit and threaten to sue me if I don't debate him while calling me a stalker. He insulted me over and over again. He insulted people with autoimmune disease. He insulted people who are tall. He insulted people who smoke marijuana even for health reasons. He has insulted people with implants. He insulted people who are elderly. He's insulted and been rude and bullied so many people that at this point, it's not that I'm running around wanting drama, but I'm going to stand up for myself and I'm going to defend myself when he comes at me, because knowing Greg won't peacefully stop. This is how Greg works, unfortunately. So I can sit here and say that I'm not somebody who necessarily likes drama. That's not who I am. However, I'm somebody who will defend myself when I need to. And that's how I see this.
Okay, but you can defend yourself and not make a 35-minute long video and multiple tweets is what I'm saying. If you simply tweet at him...
but this is how I choose to do it. Because what he's done is he's trying to threaten legal action on people's First Amendment rights. This is not okay to me whatsoever. And as long as he continues to do that...
From what I understand is that the cops have actually been called and the claim is being taken seriously.
But there's no claim. There's nothing he can do. And I will be calling the cops to give my side and talk to them about the situation. And I will have legal counsel because I've done nothing. I have never reached out to him. I don't know his number. I've never called him. I don't know his address. I've never showed up at his house. I've never met them. I have no intention to. I've stated this over and over and over again. Saying the phrase, I'm coming for you, that is I've heard people say that on YouTube all the time when it comes to calling people out. That is not any sort of admission or action of physical threat whatsoever. He's full of crap. Otherwise, he would press charges. So ask where the charges are. Where are the charges that I have physically threatened her? There are none because I haven't done anything wrong.
Well, okay, you saying I'm coming for you is threatening. It's attacking.
I would say it's verbally harsh. I could call that a verbal attack, but you can't put somebody in jail for a verbal attack. Now, if I started going into detail on how I wanted to physically harm her, or what I would do to her, or how I was going to show up here or there, that'd be totally different. I never did that. So what he's doing, he's taking a phrase and he's spinning a narrative and an assumption, but that won't hold up in a court of law.
Well, what my take on this is, though, is that a lot of the language that you used in your video could be interpreted as not only threatening but as slander, as stated before. But the main problem, though, is that if he does go and actually file a court case, it's just going to cause more drama. So the main reason that I have a problem with what you did, though, is in general is that I feel like if you were to address this in a way saying, listen, I'm not dealing with this anymore, and just leave it at that, just drop the situation altogether. Every time he tweets at you, just completely ignore him. You're not going to have a problem. But by making a 35-minute long video, you're creating another problem.
Girl, he's creating a problem by attacking me, and I will continue to defend myself. And that, I'm sorry, when I said girl, that's a figure of speech. I just caught that. That wasn't trying to be rude at you at all. So forgive me. It's just the way that I talk. So the problem is he continues to bully people. It is not my problem that I'm standing up for myself. And I can see where you're coming from, but that's just not my choice. I continue to speak my truth, and I continue to protect First Amendment rights.
You're not standing up for yourself, though. You're standing up and then throwing it right back. Like, you're not just saying,
I'm defending myself.
Well, you're not. That's not defending yourself. That's attacking back. You can defend yourself and say, "Go wild." I guess it's not. But I mean, you can defending yourself is saying, "You know what? This doesn't bother me. I don't care what you have to say about me." Attacking someone else is saying, "I'm coming for you." By doing that, you're attacking them.
Verbally, yes.
Defend yourself. It's you can say you love something and not tear something else down. Just defend yourself. Don't.
And that's what I'm doing. But this is how I'm choosing to do it, because she was being sneaky and she was being rude, and what she did is incredibly rude and manipulative thing to do. And this is how I chose to deal with it. So
well, then to quote yourself back at you, you're signing yourself up for this. Like, everything that happens from this point, you're signing yourself up for it. Like, you're saying that they're all saying themselves, go out.
And I would agree with that. I'm signing myself up for defending myself against them doing crap to me and other people. Absolutely. I would agree with that. So that's the thing. I'm not sitting here complaining or trying to play victim to what they've done or what I've done. I own my actions, but I will not be painted in a light of what my actions are, because it's just not true. I never physically threatened her. And if I did, then he needs to prove that by spending the money to get a lawyer and proving that in court. Otherwise, once again, he's playing cry bully. That's what he is doing, and so is Lainey.
Why are you here if you're not trying to do those other things? What are you trying to prove here?
What am I?
Like, are you just trying to defend yourself, or right in the
Well, people let me know that you guys were saying things, so I said, okay. I came in right when you were calling me so I don't have any issues, Ellie, because I don't know you. And Sarah, I don't have any issues with you. So I thought, okay, if there's an issue that we could peacefully talk out, that's great. What I've learned is that's not going to be something I can do with Lainey or Greg, but that's how I choose to interact with everybody else that comes in my life or that I meet. But they've chosen not to be that way. That's fine. So I thought, okay, let me see if there's some issue here, if there's some wrongdoing I've done, if there's something I should apologize for. Sarah and I talked it out. She felt a certain way. I apologized. That's it, as far as I'm aware. So I'm just trying to clear up any... I was just saying I'm trying to clear up any wrongdoing that I could have possibly done and see if there is a possibility that peace could be made.
The thing with the whole debating Lainey and Greg thing is, as I could tell, Lainey was being very respectful to you during the debate that you guys had.
Yes, during.
Greg, I know he called you names. That was immature.
He was obviously. The whole time he was.
I'm not saying that that's not. Obviously, it is.
Sure.
But it was also immature for you to have a moderator that you said was impartial when you knew he was not impartial. You knew that Jeff was not impartial.
Not true, and I'll tell you how I know that's not true. I have a video of this coming out. Jeff and I actually spoke on my live stream before all this happened, and he said twice, when I filled him on my side, he's like, well, I don't want to comment or say much of anything because I'm going to be impartial here. I'm just here to help make sure and facilitate people don't interrupt each other, people don't talk over each other, and people stay on point. Jeff has done many high-profile debates on YouTube, even with people that personally he might disagree with, but was still very, very fair. That's why I chose him to do it and not other people. And I have evidence of him saying that. All Jeff wanted to do was to make sure people weren't being too insulting, too interrupting, and didn't go crazy off topic. And with somebody like Onision, you need something like that because Onision, and here's the other thing, Onision lied. He's flat out lied. He said this was a debate, turned around and said, this isn't a debate. I just wanted to come and tell you to f off. That's not a debate. He literally lied to everybody. He just wanted a public forum to curse at me and insult me. So the whole thing ended up being a lie. So his argument about that ends up being invalid anyway, simply because he was never willing, this was never supposed to be a debate for him. That was just a lie to get me to be there so he could insult me.
Okay, first, before I say what I was going to say, I want to say that I'm not going to make any money off of this, just for anybody wondering. I'm not partnered with them, so I'm not going to make any money, just for everybody. Secondly, with, just to clear something up,
Sure.
yeah, Greg was being immature with the name calling during the debate. But I feel like you were being immature too because you were yelling and laughing and snickering.
Over time, because what happened was he was so awful that at that point there was nothing I could do. I could have just gone nuts and tried to rave. Instead, I decided I'm not going to entertain this behavior. I'm not going to take him seriously. So when somebody goes so far like that and so far in that extreme, I'm just not going to take it seriously, and it almost becomes funny to me. And that's not me trying to be immature, but that's my reaction to somebody acting in such a horrible, horrible, disrespectful manner to somebody else.
Okay. I understand. I understand the whole disrespect thing. I also wanted to point out the fact that Jeff, I've seen videos that Jeff has done on Greg, and he is 1,000% not an impartial party. He can try and act impartial during debates, but the fact of the matter is that you need an actual impartial party that doesn't have a side, because Jeff obviously has a side, as he showed when he went off on Greg, and I was very surprised by that, actually.
And here's what I would
just flipped.
Sure. And he didn't just flip. Onision had been hurling insults, not just at me, but at him for several minutes. Hurling. What was it? I think it went on about 10 minutes of him being horribly rude and hurling insults. That was a manipulation tactic on Onision's end. He decided he didn't want Jeff in the picture. And so he decided, okay, I'm going to insult this guy to get a reaction and then turn around and say, oh, look, he's crazy. If Greg had any issue at all with that moderator, he could have come to me and we could have worked it out. Number one, Greg in the beginning agreed to all of this. I have the DMs. He agreed to it. He could have peacefully come to me and I would have said, okay, we can figure something else out. Greg chose not to do that. Greg chose instead to manipulate and want chaos. He literally, at the beginning of the conversation, said, oh, good, this should be chaotic, because that's what he wants, because he wanted to make money and he felt he could make money off of chaos. This is what he does.
He didn't make any money off of the debate, though.
He did. If he and Lainey are married, then that goes, even though she...
No, I can tell you right now, they have totally separate bank accounts. Lainey's money is only Lainey's money.
So then who pays for things with the kids and the house? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not going to talk about the kids. I'm not going to talk about the kids, but I don't really feel comfortable discussing their bills or whatever. But I'll just say that Lainey's money is Lainey's money.
But what I'm saying is, if they are married, they are a unit. Marriage is literally a legal contract that binds you together. They have a home and they have children. Anything that's going to financially benefit Lainey will end up benefiting her family that Greg is a part of. So that is not impartial whatsoever.
Not if they have a prenup.
Even in that case, it's still supporting their family unit to some degree. It still is. When I was trying to raise money for charity, and he tried to say that Lainey was that she was a victim, so she was a charity, which was BS in my opinion.
Well, it doesn't matter if Greg benefits from the money, if the money is going into Lainey's bank account. Why does this matter? That's what I want to know. Why does it...
Well, Ellie, you guys brought it up. So you're saying, why does it matter? Well, you brought it up, so obviously it matters.
I brought it up. Ellie didn't bring it up. I brought it up. It matters because, sorry, that was weird. It matters because other people were bringing it up. You were saying, oh, I don't want to like put money in your pocket for doing this. I want to do it on mine so we can give it to charity.
And right, that's the only reason he wanted to do this was to make money. This was a manipulation tactic to make money from my perspective, and he put it off online. Oh, we have separate finances. Well, that's fine, but if you are a family unit, you are tied in some ways financially together by having a house and by having children. It's going to benefit both of you. It just will.
Why is this any purpose?
Well, Ellie, why did you guys bring it up? Like, you keep making these little comments, but you guys are the ones that bring stuff up. You
I don't
are.
think it's anyone's business how another family handles their money.
Then why are you bringing? Then I don't know why we're bringing up the money aspect. If Ellie, you keep making these little comments. If you guys don't want me to make comments on things, then don't bring the situation. Don't bring up that specific.
I didn't bring it up. I think it's BS that this is a discussion that's happening on a public forum. Like, it's not anything that anyone should be talking about. How people.
And Ellie, you guys then don't ask me the questions.
Okay, let's move on. Hey, let's just move on.
Well,
I'm sorry for bringing it up.
No, Sarah, I'm not upset with you.
No, Ellie didn't bring it up. I brought it up. I shouldn't have even brought it up.
Sarah, and that's okay. Sarah, I'm not upset with you, but Ellie, if you have an issue, you keep making these little like low passive comments on it when your friend's bringing things up. Well, just then come at me. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out there.
It's none of my business. I'm not going to talk about it if it's not my business.
But you keep making comments, so you are talking about it.
Making who? I'm not making anyone do anything.
When Sarah brings something up, you keep making these little passive comments about it and then saying, why are we talking about it? Well, because you guys or your friend is bringing it up, but then you're trying to pass that responsibility on to me like I shouldn't be talking about it when I'm asked.
Well, I don't think Sarah should be talking about it either. I'm not blaming you for anything.
Then you should word that a different way and say it to both of us because it looks like you are putting it on me, and that's all I'm trying to tell you. That's
the point of me bringing that up was just because everyone was...
Sorry, Sarah, okay. I'm not trying to interrupt.
Okay, let me just stop. The point of me bringing that up was to, just clear up the fact that, like, it would only be benefiting Lainey. But obviously we don't need to talk about that. Their financial situation obviously is nobody's business. So let's just move on to another topic.
Real quick, I would like to say one other thing about it. I agree it's nobody's business, but Greg does keep bringing it up to people. He is constantly putting his financial situation out there for the world to see and hear about. I just wanted to respectfully bring that up. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Just make that
well, let's just move on to a different topic. Are there any other topics you want to discuss?
No, unless you guys are good, I'm good. I just, like I said, I heard that you might be upset with some things, and then I heard people were saying some rude things, so I thought, okay, let's just try to talk it out. So, if there's anything you guys have, I'm open.
The only thing that I would want to say is that the whole slander thing, it is slander when you, from my understanding, I guess you accused Lainey of doing sexual things with me, which didn't happen.
When did I?
I don't know if that was you or someone else, but that was my understanding of it.
Again, it was months ago, so you would have to bring up something specific because I know that it was something that I got to a point where I questioned, but most of anything I ever said is, I'm not 100% sure, I don't have evidence on this. It was a concern because of Greg's past, but I don't think that I flat out made any facts or accusations. I might have made allegations.
People are saying that it wasn't you, so I'm just gonna...
Okay. That's okay. No, and that's fine. You can ask me, anything. No worries there.
I know that people were saying that, obviously, but I don't remember if it was you or someone else. I don't know.
There were a lot of people saying that.
But if there were any accusations like that is slanderous, because that's a lie.
I will say this, though. Slander is very, very hard to prove in a court of law. It is, because what you would have to do is you would have to prove that that person knew that wasn't the case and had malicious intent against it. Where there was a lot of different rumors, and at the time, a lot of different evidence to suggest there could be something happening. I believe, actually, in the very beginning, I more defended the situation. What I was worried about was Greg. I was very worried about Greg with his past with minors. But again, this was a while ago, so I would have to go back and look at stuff. I don't 100% remember.
Okay, yeah, obviously, that none of that happened, so I can just get that cleared up right now. Because I saw that in the video being talked about a little bit.
Can I say one thing really quick?
Ellie wants to say something.
There are a lot of people in the comments right now who, when Sarah was saying that, or at least someone said it, that Greg slanders people all the time. I'd like to make something very clear. We're not condoning any actions made by him. So if we're saying that someone is doing something and you guys say, well, he did that, like, we're not saying that's okay either. Or at least I'm not saying it's okay.
I'm not,
no one should be making slanderous comments.
Yeah, nobody should be making slanderous comments. I don't know when, like, you guys would have to give me specific examples. Like, if you just say, oh, well, Greg's done that, it's like, okay, well, I don't know, like, what, like, you gotta give me examples.
I'm not defending Greg.
Yeah. Lainey. I keep calling you Lainey. Ellie doesn't even like Greg, so it's not like Ellie's defending him.
Yeah, sure.
But if there's anything else that anybody wants to say, I feel like this has been, I don't know really what this accomplished, but
absolutely nothing.
But regardless, you wanted to come on. I let you come on. We had another debate. Everybody was respectful. So.
Sure. Well, I'll say I thought it was more of a conversation. And I just want to point it out. You asked if I wanted to come on and talk about it. I said sure that we can. Like I said, I hope that if there was any hurt feelings or misunderstanding between you and I, that was cleared up. That was my goal. I hope that was accomplished. If that wasn't accomplished, let me know. And if there's something else if there's anything that you feel I should apologize for, something I can do, let me know. But that was my goal.
If that were to be the case, I would privately message you, because I don't think that should be like public.
Yeah, and if you ever, like I said, if you ever would like to, if this is something you'd ever like to talk about, my DMs are open. I'm not saying you have to, but you can always reach out to me if there's something I need to apologize for. I'm happy to do so. And real quick,
yeah, as far as the whole ganging up thing, that wasn't you, except for the times that I already previously mentioned. It was mostly Aaron. Aaron was being an outright to me, which...
Well, I apologize. I apologize if that's how it came across. And I apologize if I did not step in and calm that down, if you felt that way. And if there's something I can help do to make that right, let me know. Because that is, like I said, I really felt very protective over you when you were on. That's why I didn't really want other people on. So when you said, hey, let's put other people on, I thought, oh, no, I didn't quite know how to navigate that. So if I dropped the ball there, I apologize.
Yeah, I did not know that it would be 7 against 1. Even though like some of the people weren't talking, I would have liked if I could have had, and I did have Lainey's sister on, and it was kind of more balanced when I did that.
Sure, but then no worries. We worked that out, and I'm happy we did. Like I said, I can disagree with people, but I hope it still stands. And like I said, I think you are a very intelligent young woman. I think you're a beautiful young woman. I think you have a bright future ahead of you. Ellie, even though we might have disagreed, I think you're very intelligent. I think you're a very pretty woman, and I'm glad. I'm sorry. I don't know how you identify. It's meant to be a compliment. It's not meant to be taken rude, and this isn't fake. Like, I actually appreciate getting to talk to you both, even if we disagree with stuff. I'm sorry, Ellie. I hope that didn't come across rudely. It's not meant to be rude.
Well,
it's fine. It is what it is.
We do disagree on a lot, and I'm not.
Sure.
Obviously, I'm being respectful right now. That does not mean, I don't want you to think I'm fake. That does not mean that we're friends or that we're like, anything like that.
I agree.
But yeah, I'm the type of person that does not yell or that kind of thing.
I won't do that either unless I'm provoked too far. So I understand that. And no, and I'm not sitting here saying, oh, good, we're friends. I would like to think we're in a civil, peaceful place. That's what I would like, at least in a public perspective. Because I'm sure if we turn off the camera, you guys might vent to each other. And, you know, that's fine. You know, that's what, you know, that's what people do in private. I just would like to think, like I said.
Yeah, I vent in private. Yeah, I'll admit that. That's something everybody does.
Of course. And I would never, you know, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I would at least like to think in a public perspective that we are at least in a civil, peaceful place with one another, even if we disagree.
In a public perspective, I'm not going to call you names or act like you were anything that you were not to me, including like, you know, mean because you weren't mean to me in this, as I said on my Twitter, I hope I cleared everything up.
Sure.
I'm not gonna lie is what I'm saying.
And same here. I have no intention of attacking either one of you or saying anything as well. And I'm glad we got to talk. And guys, I'm looking in the chat. People are saying to look at the Twitter. Onision has me blocked. So it looks like, I think they're saying he's e-begging for finances to help sue me, if that's the case, which is fine. He's begging for legal fees. Okay. Well, that's his choice. You know, I told him to sue me, and if that's what he wants to do, he has every right to try to prove in court that I've done something wrong. So, and Sarah, with that, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, I'll go. Is there anything else you'd like to bring up?
Is there anything else that
Ellie?
Is anything else?
Okay.
All right. Well, goodbye.
No worries. Ellie, it was nice to meet you. Thanks for the chat.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
Okay, you girls have a good night. I'm sorry, didn't mean to be rude. Ellie, Sarah, you guys have a good night. Bye, guys.
How do I do this? Like that. Okay.